Hi, everybody. This is Carmela's Rasslin Radio Relived, and I'm here again with my wonderful, gorgeous, beautiful partner, Jeannie. How are you, sweet girl?
Oh, I'm good, Carm. I love you. How are you?
I love you too. I'm good too. The ear's a little clogged still, but we're good. We're good.
Good.
Um, Today, we're going to talk about a lot of cool stuff, and we have another fan guest who I'm
Yes.
very excited about, and I'm very pleased and honored to introduce Jamie Ward. And we're going to pop him right onto the screen right now. There you go.
Yay! Hey,
Hey,
Jamie.
hi,
Hello, ladies.
Jamie.
How are
How
you
are
ladies
you?
doing? I'm
Good,
doing
good.
wonderful.
Good to see you. It's been a while since we talked, and it was a couple little bit of effort to get you on here, but I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, we finally made it. A couple
Yeah,
hiccups there, but it's
that's
finally
okay.
accomplished. I've been chomping at the bit to be on with you ladies.
Oh, thank you
Aw,
so much. You're a sweet person. Before we talk about what you are here to talk about, I want to just start the show with a little bit of um, a recap. Last week we had Richard Schwartz on. We had that. He was our first fan visit, and it was an excellent show. We had a really good show. We had really good response. Um, we also talked about upcoming things that are happening. We're talking about the 3rd of August. If anybody is interested, there's going to be a night of legends. Jeannie, this is all you, honey.
yes, ECWA with the original owner, Jim Kettner. So a lot of the older wrestlers from that federation are going to be there. Mr. Ooh La La, Joel's going to be there. Uh, Glenn Osborne. So many people are going to be there. So it's Saturday the 3rd, 3 o'clock bell time. I believe the doors open either at 2:30 or 2. That I'm a little iffy on. But in Delaware, if you can make it, come on out. It's going to be a great
That
show.
and it's going to be at the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, Boys and Girls Club in Newark, Delaware.
Okay. So and Jeannie and I will be there.
Yes.
Okay. And we are looking forward to seeing all of you. Jeannie and I have some, little business cards we're going to give out. And I want to meet everybody that we haven't met. I want to say hi to people that we already know. And I want to sign people up for the show because we're doing fan favorites. We're doing wrestlers that we haven't gotten a hold of yet. And we're doing fan interviews as well, like we are here with Jamie today. So also don't forget the 3rd of May, 2025. That is going to be a very special night. Joel will be there. Jeannie and I will be there. A lot of people will be there. We are asking you to please mark your calendars for that day. It'll be fun. Hopefully everything will go as planned and we'll be able to see you yet again. Okay. We're looking forward to that. The other thing we want to talk about, Jeannie and Jamie, is the banner. We talked about it for a couple of weeks now. There's a banner that's out. We need people to sign it. Now, I am eternally grateful because ever since we announced it the first time, between our show and Bay Ragney's show and some of our listeners, we also have people who have jumped on and started listening to our podcast. We went from about 300 to like over 400 in just a couple of weeks. So I'm very proud of that. This is to honor 5 men in the Philadelphia area. When Rasslin Radio started, it was Joel, myself, and my ex husband, Paul. And we put together a ton of stuff. And we are the creators of a lot of what you see today. I believe that we are the creators of the Attitude Era. And we are responsible for ECW coming into play. But Joel, Tony Stetson, DC Drake, Johnny Hotbody, and the late Larry Winters. I remembered all 5 of them this time. Uh, we want to hang a banner for them, but we need 1,000 signatures. So we're asking you, please. Also, our new friends, Rap and Wrestling Media. Okay, we're asking you to please help us out. Get your friends, your family, your neighbors, your doctors, your lawyers, your garbage collectors. I don't care. Local police, anybody. sign the petition. When we drop our show, we are going to also drop the link. So please look at our page. We'll put the link up. Go on Bay Ragney's page. His name is BAYRAGNI. Go on his page. He's got the link up there probably all the time, I think.
Yeah.
But in any event, you could go back on our page on Facebook and look it up. And we're asking you, please, okay, to go on ahead and sign. Have you signed yet, Jamie?
Yes, I have, and I basically have plugged the hell out of that thing on a lot of different Facebook pages.
Good.
And the couple podcasts that I appear on.
Good.
Excellent.
It also. Excellent. Thank
awesome.
you.
And I know all those guys also from the time that I was hanging out with Dennis and going to all his independent shows. They all worked for Dennis, and you know, all 5 of those guys were hell nice guys. I mean, it's a shame Larry's no longer with us,
yes.
But the other 4, I look forward to getting to meet them next May. I won't be able to make the August show, but next May 3rd, I'm going to be there.
Good.
Awesome.
Okay. We'll look forward to seeing you. It's really important that we support our brothers and sisters in the wrestling world. Again, when Joel and I parted ways, he dropped off and went on and did his own TWA, his own thing, and he did it very successfully. So we're proud of him, and we're hoping that everybody will give us and him the support to keep listening to the podcast, to sign the banner, to be at the event that we're going to go to. Try to come on the 3rd of August. That's a wrestling show. Try to come on the 3rd of May. When it gets closer, we'll tell you exactly what it is and what's going on. Okay?
Yes, and the place, the time.
Exactly.
All of it. Right now, we can only just announce the date.
Right, because it's not 1,000% lined up yet, but it will be.
Right.
Okay. I wanted to talk real briefly before I want to spend the rest of the hour talking to Jamie, but I wanted to talk real briefly about SummerSlam. If anybody wants to give any predictions for SummerSlam, I am open. I am all ears. Personally, I think Roman Reigns will come back. I don't know in what capacity, but I think SummerSlam will be the time that he will come back. What do you think, Jamie?
If he comes back for that show, I don't think he's going to get physically involved. I think it'll be like a CM Punk debut at Survivor Series where he just ends up coming out after the Cody and Sokola match.
I think, I agree with you. I think that's what's going to happen. But I also think that when and if they decide to have them fight each other, it'll be Roman, Jimmy, and Jey Uso against the new bloodline. I think also, but here we go. So we have 4 of the bloodline right now, but also from what I understand, the WWE has already signed Hikulea, who is also the son of Haku, but he will be renamed as a Tonga. All right, but now this guy is 6'8", and he's doing incredible things in Japan. So I'm a little, up in the air about what's going to happen. Maybe he'll go on Roman's side and be the 4th person to go against the 4 people faction of the old bloodline. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that this is going to be exciting because, the storylines in WWE haven't always been that terrific, but they seem to be getting a little bit better, like the Dominic Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan thing. A lot of people are saying that they think Dominic's going to turn on Rhea and wind up going with Liv Morgan. They're also saying that Damian Priest will ultimately leave the Judgment Day. And I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to see. I don't know if you guys have any opinions, but I'm open if you guys want to talk about any opinions you have.
I mean, they've been leaving all kind of breadcrumbs for all different directions that'll just not make your head spin, but at least say, I wonder if something's going on there. And I mean, they even can throw the past Finn Balor relationship with Liv into the mix a little bit. I mean, do we see Sami Zayn possibly reteam with Roman and the Usos when we get around Survivor Series? Or could it be the ultimate? You have Cody teaming with Roman by the time we get there. I mean, they got so many different angles going here.
I said that. Yeah, I said that to somebody too. I think it would be cool if Cody was the fourth person in the Romans team. So I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But here's the problem: SummerSlam is on the 3rd of August, so I won't be able to watch SummerSlam that night because I'll be at the wrestling. But I will sit down and watch the whole thing on Sunday. So I don't want to know any results.
Well, no, because on the 3rd, the show in Delaware starts at 3:00. So
Yeah,
the
but we
latest
would be
is going to
home by
be
7.
over.
What time will it be over?
I'm assuming it'll be 3 to 5:30, 6:00.
Oh, that's really
An hour
not
to get
bad.
home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you'll get home and you could just start it from the beginning.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'd like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I can't even watch it live myself because we're going to have the grandkids that night.
Uh-oh.
But once they go to bed, which will be by 9 or 10, I'll be up until the wee hours of the morning watching.
Oh, yeah. Me too. I'm up. I was just telling Jamie before we started this, I go to bed really early during the week because I have to get up between 4 and 5 in the morning to go to work. So I go to bed early, and I was telling him, between 4:30 and 8:30, I'm like, okay, I'm in. Around 8:30, I start to get a little woozy, and that's the end of it. But the weekends, I am up. God knows all hours of the night. But all right, let's turn the timetable here over to Jamie. You wanted to talk about Memphis. The whole thing is on you right now. Let's hear what you have to say.
Well, what I want to say is thank you, Carmela, to you, Joel, and Paul for arranging that. I mean, I had been a fan since about 1978, 79, and kind of like, what they call a smart fan from like 1982. I started getting Meltzer Sheet and some other ones at that point. And never did I imagine that I'd ending up traveling all around the country to go to different things. And it was you that started me on that path. Once you announced on the radio show that you were going to run this trip, I think if I wasn't the first one in with the money, I had to be within the first 10 to have that deposit check into you guys to go. And just what a great time that was.
It really
now, Jamie,
was
forgive me. Where did you hear of the wrestling radio show? Did you live in Philadelphia, or were you in the?
Yeah, I live right outside of the city.
Okay.
I lived in Ridley Township. I don't know if you're familiar with that at the time.
Yep.
Now I'm over in Springfield. Yes, in Delco. Yeah, I'm a Delco boy without a doubt. We're the step cousins of.
I was born in
Philadelphia.
Yeah, lived in Delco for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. And anyway, I first heard of Rasslin Radio, I want to say, at one of the NWA shows at the Civic Center. I'm going to guess you guys had people hand out maybe flyers about the radio show.
Yep.
And that was pretty early. That had to be in 85. We started the show in 85, maybe 86, early 86.
The actual radio show started in 84/85.
Okay, so it was sometime in 85. I got the circular and tuned in. I think you were on Friday nights at that point.
Yes.
Toward the very beginning. Then you switched to Saturday afternoons a year or so.
Went to DVT, yeah.
And so if I was working or I wasn't able to make it, I had my dad recording the radio show for me so that I could listen to it.
We were on Sundays too.
And you were on Sundays also. So I always, matter of fact, I had a nice tape collection of it once upon a time. No longer. Sorry, can't help you out with any throwback tapes.
I still got them, man. They're sitting on the drawer where they've been for 40 years.
But I listened every single week and was always very entertained and always wanted to get on your store. Unfortunately, I just never got there.
Well, tell me, what did you like the most about being in Memphis?
The best part for me was going to the Memphis TV studio on a Saturday. I'd been getting tapes from there for years, and you don't realize until you actually walk into that studio how small it is.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, the thing couldn't have. To me, it seemed like it was as big as my living room.
Yep.
It was really small, but the action was right in your face, and it was nonstop, continuous. I mean, they did some interviews, yes, Lance and Dave, but as soon as the interview was over, they would play the music for a commercial, but commercials didn't seem very long, and they were right back in the ring for the wrestling. And the matches also, we went to Jackson and Nashville
Yep.
and Memphis for matches, and that's the way they ran their matches too, in and out, real quick.
Yeah, and
Long,
I like
matches,
that.
but action.
Well, that's what I was telling you about the Will Ospreay and MJF match. It was action straight through. It was perfect. But anyway, getting back to Memphis, I like the way they used to go out in the parking lot. They were, I think, if I'm not mistaken, some of the first people to actually go out into the parking lot, and then everybody started to pick up on that, you know. But the studio, like you said, was very small, but it looked huge on TV.
Yes, it
always
did.
looked big. And Jerry was very kind to us. He was a very kind person at the time. And he had the TV show. Remember, we were on his TV show.
Yes, you were on it, and then the following week, I was selected from a blind draw out of a hat along with 3 other people to be interviewed on a Jerry Lawler show.
Get out! I didn't know that. You went down again?
No, they showed it a second week on the Lawler show. You were on the first week, you, Paul, and Joel, and then the following week again on the Jerry Lawler show, they posted Ken Barnett interviewed me, a guy named Eric, and somebody else about the matches. The thing I posted on Facebook the other day that you saw, that video that I posted that showed Jerry Lawler's picture, go about 14 minutes in, and you can see the interview that the 3 of us did ringside at the Monday night show in Memphis. So really, that was either that was the real highlight, or you tying a cherry stem with your tongue on the bus ride from Nashville to I think would we go to Dolly Parton's Park or Opera USA?
Yeah.
One or the other, and then we proceeded on to Jackson after that.
I can still do that. Oh my God, I can't believe you remember that.
Yeah, Tom Robinson tapping me on the shoulder and said, watch this. Now you could do it.
Oh my God.
He got you and you put it in.
We lost you a little bit there, Jamie. Say that part again, because you're all right,
there you go. I couldn't believe that you were able to do that. I've never seen another human being accomplish that feat. You were one sense.
That was, believe it or not, I'm not going to tell you how I learned how to do that, but that was just one of the things that I can do. And it's better if the stem's a little longer, you know, that helps a lot. But yes, I can still do that. But so you wanted to also talk about your relationship with Dennis Carluso. Dennis Carluso was a good man. We had a lot of interaction with him. He had a lot of promotions, promoted shows. He had his own promotions. He was, he could be a real pain in the butt, but he was a good man. Yeah. So tell us something about him, Jamie.
Yeah, Dennis was a great guy. Tom Robinson met Dennis first at a show over in Jersey somewhere. And then he said, wait till we get to Memphis. I'll introduce you to Dennis. And I took to Dennis, and Dennis took to me right away, along with Frank Chili, and Kenny Bolin was on that trip.
Okay.
Also, if you remember, Kenny was there. And it was just a great experience meeting Dennis. And then after we got back from that, I was kind of like a member of the Dennis Carluso posse, as I called it, because we'd go to all his shows. We'd go over his house just for bullcrap sessions. I went back to Memphis 2 more times with Dennis. Dennis, quite the character. And I really loved my time hanging around with Dennis. He was truly unique and one of a kind. And I'm still in contact with Mark and Frank Chili and Jeff Otto. I still talk to those guys every now and then.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because Saturday, Jeannie and I had a beautiful lunch with Frank Chili and Jeff.
Oh, and, awesome.
We talked about him coming on the show. So we have a date.
Oh, great.
I believe if everything works out okay, it's going to be the end of August. He's going to come on the show. He's going to talk about so many things. He's going to talk about his life when he was a unit publicist for Warner Brothers. And then, of course, he's going to, Jeannie reminded me that our show is no kayfabe. So we're going to talk about him being Frankie the Thumper. You remember that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so how I refer to him when we talk. I say,
Always.
I just call him Thumper. I never call him Frank, never call him Chili. I just call him Thumper every time I say him.
Well, and it's funny because he and Dennis always had this thing. They were like in cahoots together all the time, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And we always had this thing going on at the radio show where, you know, Lawler would call in, and Lawler and I had this little romance going on the radio. And anytime Dennis or Frank were there, usually they were there together, I would say most of the time, but they would fight with Lawler on the air, you know, and you know, Jerry would be like, why do you have these people on your show? And I can't believe you, Carmela. And I thought we had a relationship, and it would be so cute. And Dennis would be like, what's the matter with you? I can't believe you even like that guy, you know, or whatever. And like, of course, at the time, my husband is standing right there, you know, but we had a great time. Some of those times were, bar none, the best times ever. Did you actually play in the softball game, Jamie?
Yes, I did. I've played in 2 softball games. The second one, when you weren't involved anymore, we went down with Joel's group. Okay. I played in that one too, and I was lucky enough to hit a home run off Jerry Calhoun.
Oh wow!
That you know, the next at bat, he beat me, of course.
Okay. Well, it's funny. Paul to this day still says to me, "I was MVP in one of those games. I was the MVP," and I'm like, "Yeah, all right, Paul. No, really, I was the MVP in one of those games." I said, "Okay," and I can't believe he actually played. Paul never at the time anyway did anything like that. But I can't believe he actually played, and he had a great time. We all had a great time.
Yeah, it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing to do. I mean, to play softball with Jerry Lawler and his army.
Yeah, it was great. And I was telling Rich last week, and I want to run this by you too. We were just thinking, it's just up in the air right now, just thinking, what if we did something like that again? Like, what if we had a fan club again, and we did meet and greets, and we did maybe a trip or something? Do you think that would be something you might still want to do?
Yeah, you'd probably find me getting involved in that. I've been known, you know, since that time to go on a lot of these fan club outings, or as we used to call them back in the day, smart fan outings with all guys that I knew from. Whoa! Almost knocked my thing over.
You okay?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I just lift my hand too high. Anyway, as a matter of fact, as recent as June, I went down to Florida for a wrestling convention. They had Abdul the Butcher and Stan Hansen and Mark Lawrence was there from World Class, and it was a good time.
Well, actually, you mentioned Stan Hansen. I'm in the process of trying to get him on the show.
Get him as soon as you can, because he is declining.
Really?
So, yeah, so get him on as soon as you can. He was still pretty good, but he was forgetting a lot of stuff.
I have a friend who's trying to help me, trying to get a hold of him. So we're working on that, and we are trying as hard as we can to get, you know, still get Abdul the Butcher, you know, and get. I'm trying to get Dave Yohannon's going to try and help us get Johnny Rods. I'd love to talk to him, and God bless him, he's 80 as well. You know, I don't know about Ivan Putski. I wanted to try to get him as well, but like you just said, from what I'm hearing, he's going to be 84, and he's not 100% anymore. You know, he kind of skips, you know, over a few things here and there, but it's not going to stop me from trying. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to try and get as many wrestlers as I can. I'd love to be able to have some kind of collaboration with them, you know, before, God bless them, one of us passes away, you know. So I'd like to do that. I'm trying to get a hold of, a lot of these wrestlers too, though. It's a shame because a lot of them want to get paid. And we're new podcasters, so we're not in a position.
And they all have like agents now you got to go through. And that doesn't make it easy.
No, we're not in a position to pay, you know, these people yet at this time. And because we tried to get Missy Hyatt, I would love to have her on. She is one of the people who wants to get paid. And I
Yeah,
kind of,
I just met her a couple months ago too. She was
yeah,
at that same fan fest.
yeah, I kind of reached out to her a little bit, and I was like, yeah, but do you remember us? Like, you did this for us, we did this for you. Can you help me out a little bit? But
Yeah, I remember
yeah,
going to the luncheon with her
yeah.
that
And she held
that
my
you
little
had.
girl up in her arms, my little Celeste, and yeah, and I reminded her, and I was like, but I'm still going to try. I'm trying to get baby doll. Trying to get we're going to have Heidi Lee Morgan at one point. That didn't work out when we were trying, but we're going to try and get her back on. We're also going to have Manny Fernandez. I'm so
Oh,
excited
great.
about him. Yeah, he's going to be in August. We're going to have the widow of Bruiser Brody. We talked about last week that
I heard she's a great interview if you can
she's
get her.
wonderful. I heard. Yeah, I have not met her yet, but I've spoken to her. But she we just had well, not a celebration, but a an anniversary, I guess you would say, of his death, just this past week. So, I'm excited about the things that we want to move forward with, and I'm hoping that everybody else will be as excited as we are about the things that we're moving forward with. So, Jamie, tell me, do you still watch all the wrestling now, or are you one of those people that never watches it anymore?
No, I never gave up on it. I kind of got away as far as the behind the scenes stuff, and very rarely do I read newsletters or anything like that anymore. It's more I just want to enjoy it, and that's what I do. If I don't normally watch it live, but I'll DVR both SmackDown and Raw and AEW, and then try to watch it within the week, even if I have to fast forward through some stuff.
Yeah.
I still watch and keep up on the current product.
Well, it's funny. I have a friend at work, and we sometimes watch episodes of series, like different things like Evil. And there's a new series I just started watching called Those Who May Die. I love gladiator stuff. But anyway, and she's always trying to get me to watch this or that. And I'm like, well, I can only watch stuff on Thursday night and Sunday night because those are the only nights that there's no wrestling. I said, wrestling has to take priority. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday is filled with wrestling. And I will always be a wrestling fan, and I will always be a little bit of a mark, but I'll always be a smart fan because I love it. I love it. I was born practically into the business. My parents, again, were in it for so long before me. Uh, Jeannie, I think, will tell you she has drifted off into the indies, right, Jeannie?
Yeah, I mean, really, I stopped watching probably during COVID. I just, without the fans in the audience, it was just like, and I love the wrestling, and I don't know, it just kind. And then when it started to come back, I went back, and I don't know. It just wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't. I just could not get into it. I just really couldn't. Any of the pay-per-views, watching it, and then it's like, oh my God, that was horrible. I just lost like 3 hours of my life. I'm never going to get back. This was horrible, and so it's like, why am I even bothering? All I'm doing is complaining on Facebook that it was horrible. Well,
Yeah.
and I do watch I usually always watch WrestleMania. I like the Survivor Series, and usually SummerSlam. AEW, I watched in the beginning. Now I only watch if I know some of my favorite indie guys are going to be on the show.
You still gotta watch that match, Jeannie. You still gotta watch that.
And that's, and then I'll watch for them. And as soon as it's over, then I just kind of turn it off. But yeah, the indies, I like supporting the indie guys, and I feel proud when some of the indie guys do make it to either WWE or AEW. It's like a proud mama moment. It's like, oh, they're on, but
Yeah, it's like Damian Priest. I used to go over to the Monster Factory on Saturday nights when he was Punishment Martinez and see him get in the Ring of Honor, and now he's the world champion. It's like, I tell guys, I knew that guy at the Monster Factory.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
time.
I would love to know, I would love to hear that somebody like Damian Priest did not forget the people he met at the Monster Factory. Like if he was friendly with anybody there and somebody went to see him at WWE, he'd be like, yeah, I remember you. Come on in. But I don't think that's what it's like. I really don't. Do you, Jamie?
For him, I think, but just the few times that I met him, he didn't come off as a guy that would forget where he came from. And I'm sure him and Danny Cage are probably still tight, or we would have heard, through the rumor mill somehow, that he turned his back on Danny, because Danny's a hell of a guy. And I can't see anybody really turning their back on him. I met Matt Riddle also a couple months back, and he just went off on how great Danny Cage was. So I can't see Damian Priest as that type of guy. Maybe he is, but I just don't see it that way.
Good. Well, I hope you're right, because I don't know Damian. I've never met him. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy. When he won the belt, I remember when The Rock went in the back, and he congratulated him and all. Damian was like completely and totally marked. He was so marked out. And he went away, and Damian was like, oh my God, that was The Rock, And I think that is good, because a lot of these people that are young, have to. I think it would be a really good idea if they remember where they came from, because the older guys and girls do remember where they came from, I think, but it's like that in between group, that they got too big for their britches, some of them. Joel and I were talking not too long ago, and I'm not going to mention the person's name, but he started out very little. He was somebody we knew very well when Rasslin Radio was first starting out. And now he is very picky about who he answers the phone for. He's very picky about who he will and will not talk to. And my response to that is, well, who are you? Like, really? You're not in a position to do that. You're really not.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's right. Like, who do you think you are? Really? Yeah. Like, there was somebody on Facebook, and I'm not going to mention that name either, because I just don't want to fight with anybody. But the thing is, he said, I don't do podcasts, but I will do interviews for being paid. And I saw the name, and I didn't recognize the name. And I so wanted to write to him and say, who are you? Like, who do you think you are? And believe me, I've said that to many people right to their faces. If I ever meet him in person, I will say it to him. Like, who do you think you are? Like, when did you get, to smell so good that you don't, probably still smell like milk behind your ears? Get out of here. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a totally, as you're saying, that the wrestlers of today are different from the wrestlers of years gone by. I mean, the people that you knew from the WWF days, and then the NWA guys that you guys knew, or the NWA guys that I knew toward the late 80s and early 90s, I never really met a bad person. I mean, the first time I got to meet Jim Cornette through Dennis Caroluzzo, Jim Cornette already knew who I was from the newsletter days, and he was one of us. So he never forgot his roots. Paul Heyman's never forgot his roots. I ran into him a few years ago, and he didn't try to big time me or anything. But yet I have heard of some of these newer people, I'll say from maybe 2010 on, that have forgotten their roots and try to big time people.
Yeah,
I agree. I think there's I kind of can see both sides though, because coming up, every wrestler has come up through the indies or territories, however you want to word it. And like Carmela's always said, they had to, get their own travel, get their own hotel, get their own, cars to drive, tolls, and all that stuff. It was all on them. And then once they made it, some of that still wasn't, they got paid, but if you were a low man on the card, from what I understand, you didn't get travel. You had to fend for yourself travel and all that kind of stuff. So now if they're going to a WrestleCon or whatever, they want to make some money, and I get that. Sometimes I think they charge, to pay $200 to get your picture taken when somebody is ridiculous. I would never pay that for anybody. I don't care who it is.
I mean, the ones that I go to are all, it's prepaid and you get everybody for a certain amount.
Right. Yeah. The ones I go to in Philly. Yeah. It's like $20 to walk in the door. And then each wrestler charge. It's usually $20-$25 for a picture. But when it's a really, who was it? That was, Nia Jax was there one time, and she wanted like $150.
Wait, we lost you, Jeannie. We lost you for a minute. Who was it?
Nia Jax.
Oh, okay, all right.
And she wanted like $150, and I'm like, no, nope.
Well, and I feel even worse because you got to understand. So I was born in this. Okay.
Yeah.
I never paid for a thing in my life. Okay. Never did I pay for anything in my life as far as wrestling goes. Okay. So that's hard for me to pay for something now that I feel like I've always gotten for free because I've always been friends. I've always been part of it. Yeah. But like Jeannie said, and you also, Jamie, if it's a person, a boy or a girl starting out and they need the money, they're trying to make some money, I will more than gladly contribute. Not a lot of money, no, but I will more than gladly contribute to their upbringing in the business. Absolutely, I will do that. But I'm going to tell you, there was a wrestler. Most people probably, and I know I've said this before, most people probably know him as Raven in the WWE. Okay, I don't know what his name was when he was first starting out. I really don't. But again, we were at a show. It was one of Dennis's shows. Maybe you were even there, Jamie.
Probably. And Scott Levy was his real name.
Okay, yeah. Well, we walked in that day, and all the wrestlers, always put their merch out, and either people watch it for them or they come out in between matches or whatever, and they sell their stuff. So I was asked if I would sell pictures for him, and I said, no. I said, why would I sell pictures for you? I said, what do I get out of it? See, and that's why I think I always had the respect from the guys and the girls, because I gave them respect, but I also made sure that I respected myself. And I said, what do I get? He goes, I'll give you 10% or whatever it is, or whatever you sell. I said, all right, that'll work. Well, anyway, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I sold 3 pictures. Okay. Turns out that 10% of that was $1.50. So when at the end of the night came and I gave him his money, I said, I sold 3 pictures. Here's your $15 or whatever it was. And I had my hand out, and he's like, what do you want? I said, I want my 10%. He's like, are you kidding me? It's $1.50. I said, absolutely. I want my $1.50 and you will give it to me, or I will take the money that you have in your hand out of your hand. Like I'm going to beat you up, but I got it. And I don't care. I don't care. You do not do that, okay? If you are going to ask somebody for help and you offer them a compensation, then you give it to them. Stand up for your word. Be a man. Be a woman. Do what you say you're going to do. And that's why I don't like a lot of the people today, especially the ones that are younger, seem to be like, well, the crowd clapped for me, so I don't have to do anything for you, Or I was on TV. You weren't. And I'd be like, yeah, I was on TV when you were still in diapers, so stop. Okay. But a lot of these people think that, their what doesn't stink, and they're better than other people. And it's BS. I don't care. And again, like I've said in other shows, I have never pulled punches with anybody, never pulled punches with wrestlers. And I was never one of those girls, who was, known by the wrestlers for anything other than respect. And I would never, ever, even to this day, ever do anything that I wasn't comfortable with. And I would say to that person on Facebook, I may still go back and say it, like, who are you? Who are you? Be so bold as to say stuff like that.
Well, I
But,
remember when I worked with your old buddy John Ramos at the post office.
oh my
And
God, that's right.
yeah, I worked with good old Rambo.
Holy.
And when, we were talking about you, he said, "Hey, whatever you do, don't cross Carmela. She'll take you out."
That's what Jeannie always says. I forgot you know Johnny Ramus.
Yes.
Oh my God. I grew up with him and his family, his sister. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, we
I'm
worked for
still,
about 3 years together. He was even at my wedding, John.
wow.
And we've
Yeah,
stayed in
he just,
contact all these years.
yeah, he's married now, and I still am friends with him on Facebook. But I'm going to have to tell him that you said that and you were here, on the show today. But yeah, again, Jeannie will tell you too. I am as kind as the day is long, but there's certain things that I just no, it's not going to happen. I will walk away, and you will never see me again. Or when I was younger, things were a little bit more different, of course. But I'm 67 now, and it's not that easy to just turn around and smack somebody in the head like I used to be able to do. But so I pretty much just walk away, and you'll never see me again, no matter what. But I think that respect is earned. I think respect is given, and I think respect is what makes you who you are. My mother used to always say to me, and I'm sure other people have said it, you've heard this before, all you have in this world is your word and your balls, in plain English. And once you give your word is your bond. To me, your word is more than a contract signing. And I've been screwed over so many times by people on their word, and I don't do that. I don't do that to people. But anyway, we're drifting away from wrestling here. But so Jamie, you said that you also, what is your are you going to be excited about Frank Chili being on our show? I know that
Oh,
you have some interaction with
absolutely.
him.
You'll definitely. I'll definitely be listening to that show when it's live. I'll listen to that one. Frankie's one of my favorite people in the
Mine too.
world. Yeah,
Frankie is a
he's great.
good man. He's a very good man. As a matter of fact, last week I had said we're very friendly with his sister Dana, and Dana and I are very good friends, and I love her dearly. I was friends with Frank's whole family when they were growing up, and we disagree on some things, Dana and I, but it's never affected our friendship, and that is where you have a good friendship. She likes blue, I like red. She likes chocolate, I like vanilla, that kind of thing. But we've never hurt each other because of that. But she's going to be on the show too.
Oh,
I did,
great.
Jeannie. I contacted her,
Oh, good.
and I told her. I said, because I said to her, "Did you listen to the podcast?" She said, "I heard you talk about Frank." I said, I said, "You got to listen to the whole thing." And she did. And she goes, "Absolutely." She goes, "I'd do anything for you, ladies." I said, "There you go. We're going to sit down and pick a date."
That's
And
great. Yeah, Frankie sends me pictures of every indie show he goes to with different wrestlers. The next
he
morning,
does.
like at 8 o'clock. Fortunately, I have my phone turned off, but he'll text me like at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and that's
Yeah.
the one day I get to sleep. But I have the phone
Yeah.
on silent, and then when I wake up, here's 5 pictures from Frank Chili from the night before. But we used to go over to Frank's house with Dennis and Tom Robinson and Jeff to watch all the pay-per-views because he was back in the day, the only guy that had the pay-per-view capability. I didn't have it where I lived, and I'm not sure if Dennis had the capability or not, but we always went to Frankie's house and sat there with his family. I remember his sister and his mom and his dad.
Well, I was going to ask you if you met his mother because, believe it or not, I'm a hairdresser, so I used to do it with his mother's hair. I used to clean her house,
Oh, really?
and I learned how to drive my first limousine at her house. So yeah,
Oh, wow.
they had their own limo, and I used to drive her around. I was like her I don't know what do you even call it. I did everything for that poor lady, and I loved her dearly. She was a wonderful woman. But Frank Chili is Jeannie's wrestling husband.
Yes.
Yep, they go everywhere together all the
That's
time.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love him. He's one of my favorite human beings.
Make sure next time you see Frankie, tell him that I was on here with you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, what we're going to do ultimately, and I don't want to make it look like we're having repeat shows, but what I want to do is I want to at some point have maybe like you and Frank on, okay, together.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think that the interaction would be good. That's what I want, Like I talked to Joel, and we had Glenn Osborne here. So what I'm going to do is sit down with Joel one day, and we're going to put together a team of Glenn Osborne and Jimmy Janetti. So they're going to be on together. Then Tony Stetson and I don't know, somebody, I forgot who he said. But anyway, we're going to put people together as a team on the show because they wrestled each other. And that's where we're going to get some more feedback. And then at one point, before May 3rd, I want to try and have that whole group on, the whole group that, God bless them, except for Larry, that's going to be part of the banner. You know, that's what I want. I want to be able to have something interesting, exciting every week, even if it is the same person more than one time. So what? Because like I just talked to Tom Brandy not too long ago, and he was here, and I said to him when I spoke to him, actually I didn't speak to him. I talked to him on Messenger, but I said to him, "Are you ready for part 2?" Because when he was on our show and the show ended, he goes, "Oh man," he goes, "we didn't even touch the tip of the iceberg." He goes, "I'll be back. I'll be back." So yeah, I mean, he's going to come back. We're going to have, like, I had Davey O'Hannon on the show already twice. When he gets me Johnny Rods, it's going to be him and Johnny Rods. That's what I want. I want different interactions because whenever there's different interactions, there's different stories.
Right.
And that's what this show is all about. That's what the gist of this story is. It's telling stories. It's personal experiences. It is not just, oh, you know, I like The Rock or I like Roman Reigns. That's not what I want. I want, yeah, I knew so-and-so. I interacted with so-and-so. You know, this is what kind of person so-and-so is. We did this together. We did that together. Like the Memphis thing. To me, the Memphis trip was probably one of the most incredible experiences we ever had as Rasslin Radio when Joel and I were together. Okay. Joel, like I said, he did his own thing afterwards, and God bless him. You know, he had his own experiences, his own memories. But when the three of us were together, I would say Memphis was probably one of the best experiences we ever had. And I will never forget that, you know. We had, like, I don't know, we had so many things going on. I did more flying when we had our Rasslin Radio and Squared Circle than I have done since. I don't think I've flown one time since then. And it's funny because I have this ear problem all the time. And we were flying, I'll never forget it. And I was sitting next to Joel, and as we were coming down is when it hurt more, you know. And I put my hand on his leg and I started pinching his leg, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" He said, "Leave me alone, stop pinching me." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it hurts so bad." And I don't know where Paul was. Paul was never with us. He was always running around somewhere doing something. But the most important part about that is Paul was our contact guy. He had all the connections around the world. And speaking of around the world, we have a friend named Charlie Hodgkinson who lives in Canada. Yep. And I want to get him to come on too. Because
yeah, I'm still in contact with Charlie. Charlie's a hell of a guy. Yes.
Yeah, well, tell him that I mentioned him. I'm going to contact him too. He was at our house all the time too. And he was, I mean, the stories that he can tell, oh my God, it's crazy. He's got incredible stories.
Jeannie, do you have any stories with Dennis and Frank, and like at a show, was like, you know, just the
well so many of them
wild that went on, or
well, I'll go with my favorite one. Unfortunately, Frank's not in this one because he couldn't make the trip, but we went down with Joel. I guess it was 1990. Mm-hmm. And you know, Dennis didn't want to fly with Joel's crew. I'll keep this G-rated. I won't use official Dennis language.
So, why? Did you say why?
I didn't want to be seen with that mob. Let's just put it that way.
Oh my God. That sounds like Dennis.
Interesting, how's this sound? Interesting people.
There you go.
So Dennis says, "Hey, listen, we're supposed to meet. Everybody's supposed to meet at the airport like 9 a.m. out front, and then we'll go check the bags, la, la, la." He says, "You go down there at 9 o'clock. You get our 2 plane tickets, and then just go home, and then I'll meet you back over the airport around noon." I said, "Well, what are we going to do?" He said, "Don't worry about it. We'll get on a plane. Don't worry about nothing. I got it all taken care of." So I'm standing out front, like a half hour goes by. Then Dennis comes pulling up. His wife drops him off. So we go inside to the ticket counter, and it was a young girl. And Dennis says, says to her, "Yeah, we missed our earlier flight. We want to get rebooked." And she said, "Yeah, I'd say you missed your flight. You're over 3 hours late for this one. I don't see any way I can get you on any flights today to Memphis." And he said, "See, listen, honey, you don't understand who I am." And she said, "No, I don't. Who are you?" And he said, "My name's Dr. Coraluzzo, and I'm a famous heart surgeon at the University of Pennsylvania."
Oh my God.
And originally, me and my associate here, we were just going to Memphis for a little bit of vacation. But as it turns out, we have an emergency heart surgery that we have to do. So we need to be on the next plane to Memphis, no matter what airline it is. And she gets on there, and sure enough, she finds us a flight. And on top of that, as we're getting ready to walk away, he turns back around and says, "Hey, listen, honey, we need first class coming back also." So she got us on first class going down and first class coming back.
Wow.
All because he said he was Dr. Coraluzzo.
That doesn't surprise me, not even one little bit. It really doesn't. That was Dennis. That was definitely Dennis. But I never knew that story. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's my favorite Dennis story. And then and another trip, myself, and Frankie Chili are in a cab, and we're talking to the cab driver. And I knew the guy looked familiar, but I couldn't place who it was. And the cab driver's like, well, what are you guys here for?" And he said, "Well, we're here for a part of a wrestling convention." And he goes, "Oh, really? I used to be in wrestling myself." And Dennis looks at him and says, "Yeah, I know you from somewhere." And he goes, "Yeah, I used to be a manager. They called me Nate the Rat."
Nate the Rat?
Nate the Rat, the Memphis wrestling manager. And
Oh
Dennis
my
and Nate ended up coming to the convention, the UAWF convention that year, hung with us, went to dinner with us, came in full gimmick and everything so he could get pictures with people. And Dennis brought his career back. Lawler ended up hiring him back. He ended up getting released a couple months, and then Dennis was flying him up to his indie shows in New Jersey to manage against Lawler in matches. So
wow.
Dennis resurrected Nate the Rat at one point.
That is funny. That is too funny.
Yeah, Dennis was a unique individual who was severely missed.
Dennis could lie to you with a straight face. He could lie the pants right off your body, and you wouldn't even know that they were gone.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
But he wasn't. But Dennis wasn't harmful either. Yes.
He could
lie to you. He could con you. But you really weren't going to lose any money or suffer any permanent trauma from whatever Dennis was going to do to you. It'd be more or less you get away from 5 minutes later and go, "That son of a gun, he got me."
Yeah, that was Dennis. There was no doubt about it. That was Dennis, and God bless him. He was always very kind to us. But these stories are unbelievable. And again, I thank you so much, Jamie, because that's what, again, this podcast is about. It's about stories, and it's about people knowing that wrestlers, were and are real people. And I really wish that some of the modern wrestlers, the current day wrestlers, would, let us interview them and not charge an arm and a leg, and tell us their stories. I'm sure their stories are amazing too, but it's a shame because there's so much money involved now, and it's ridiculous. But they were so many fun days. I remember having Stan Hansen and Bobby Duncombe at my house. I mean, I don't think either one of them would probably remember, but we had so much fun, so much fun. And when I used to go to the wrestling, Jeannie, you were there. Oh, for some reason, everybody congregated in my room. It was always my room, okay? And we had so much fun. I remember the story about, like I said, told before, when I cut Johnny Valiant's hair. Jeannie, you remember that? When we were in the Abe Lincoln Hotel with Bruno Sammartino and his promotion.
Well, no, I wasn't there, but I remember you telling me this.
Okay. Yeah. We had a blast. Johnny Valiant was as crazy in person as he was in the ring, okay? A wonderful man, very kind, very sweet, but a nut. He was crazy. And he wanted me to cut his hair, and he kept saying, "Carmela, cut a little bit off. I'm a bad guy. Remember, I'm a bad guy. I'm a heel. I'm like, Johnny, no problem. I need it a little closer to my head though, So I cut it, and the next day we went to breakfast. Everybody was in the restaurant. Johnny comes in, and I'm on the other side of the room, and he yells real loud, "Hey, Carmela, thanks for last night." He goes, "And by the way, it's too damn short." Never said my hair, nothing like that. All he said was, "Thanks for last night, and by the way, it's too damn short." We were dying. We were dying. And I said to him, if that's it, that's on you, man, not on me, But we had the best time. And again, of course, with Dominic DeNucci, forget it. But we had some of the best times with these wrestlers. It was unreal. And I hope to, again, try something in the future. My head's still spinning. It's still rolling around in there. I would love to, like I said, I don't want to start a fan club if I don't have anything good to offer the fans, because a fan can go to a con and get what I can give them. They just have to spend more money. I want to be able to give them something they can't get at a con before I start a fan club, because I don't think that would be fair to the fans. I don't feel like they would say, well, big deal. I paid Carmela $20 or something, whatever, to start this fan club. And what do I get? I get a bunch of old heads who can't even talk anymore, which I don't want that. I want them to be happy. And I want maybe do a trip or two, but I want to be able to have the same acknowledgement and the same treatment that we had when we went to Memphis. And that's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy.
It's a difficult balancing act. I have a friend named Barry Rose that runs FanFest. That's, as a matter of fact, his FanFest that I've been going to. And that's kind of like his attitude. He tries to keep, people's coming in from out of town. Mm-hmm. So they're spending a couple hundred just to get there, a couple hundred just for the hotel. So he tries to keep all the talent under, like, I think he charges $200 for all the autographs you can get. And there's usually 15 to 20 talents there. So it breaks down to less than $10 a person. But he wants you to be able to get that one-on-one time that you can't experience with any place else. So it sounds like you want to do the same thing, and it can be done. It just takes cooperation from others to be able to.
Well, that's the thing.
To do it.
That's the thing. And I want to be able to, I personally, if it was me, okay, and if I had my way, I'd have a super big dinner somewhere. I'd cook a whole bunch of spaghetti and meatballs, charge everybody whatever the food cost. And
I bet they're good spaghetti and meatballs too.
Thank you. Jeannie's nodding her head, yeah. But, and have everybody just come in and hang out like a family. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it with that many people, but to me, it's worth it to give it a shot. You know what I mean? I think it would be awesome. I think it would be something to look into. Again, it's just, this is only our 19th week. It's going by so fast. I can't believe it's already 19 weeks, but it's new. We're new. And we still have connections we have to make, and we still have things we have to try, and we still have a lot of begging and pleading, to do with these people to see if we can get what we're trying to get. And again, you have to understand, a lot of the people that have been exposed to the AEW and WWE may not want to do it. They may say, I don't know if I want to go see somebody who's, been wrestling for 50 years. I don't know. But maybe if it doesn't cost that much money and there's food involved, maybe they'll still do it and still have a good time. I think that would be fun,
Oh, you can count me in. I'll be there.
Good. Jeannie, you'll be there?
Yep.
We're going to have fun. It's getting close to the hour, doll. We try to keep the podcast about an hour, because some people, say that some podcasts go 3 hours, 4 hours. And I don't know. I know I can talk that long, but I don't think people want to listen that long. So we try to keep it to an hour. I thought that Brian Trammell was going to stop by, but I guess he didn't get a chance. Yeah, I talked to him today, and I was like, yeah, well, he texted us rather. Yeah. And I always say I talked to them, but I really didn't.
He's a Cowboy fan. No big loss.
Uh-oh. He's going to listen to the show, Jamie.
Oh, no. I didn't. Actually, I think I might have said, yeah, I think I do remember him kind of saying something about that. And I am a diehard Eagles fan, bleed green. So, yeah.
I'm with you, Jeannie.
There you go. There you
No,
go.
but Brian and I go back and forth all the time. However, recent years it's been more me than him, fortunately.
Well, yeah, because you know,
Yeah. Stop,
Yes,
Jeannie.
absolutely.
Dallas.
Oh my God, look at her. That's too funny. Well, I love the Eagles. I'm not that big of a football fan, but I do love the Eagles. Um, and I will always watch them. I'm not into watching a whole bunch of. I don't watch baseball. I don't watch. Years and years ago, I used to watch hockey when the Broad Street Bullies played. That was my favorite. I was at a couple parades. I have to say that, but not anymore. But I do always support the Eagles. So they're my
I
favorite
support
too.
everything but the Sixers. All Philly teams. I just cannot get into baseball unless it's the Harlem Globetrotters. I'm just bored to death
Yeah,
with
and
basketball.
I
But
yeah I don't know. Like I don't get into any sports. I told Jamie I am at heart a Philly girl, born and raised in Philly. I live in New Jersey, but I'm a Philly girl at heart, and I will never be anything but a Philly girl. And I enjoy too much about Philly. I love being there. Unfortunately, right now, most of my dear friends don't live in Philly. They live in the outskirts of Philly. But you know, when you're from Philly, everything is Philly. You know, you
yeah,
could go to Valley Forge. It's like I'm going to Philly. You know, everything is Philly, and I
and
and
we
I love.
and we all have the accent. I
Oh,
do a podcast with a bunch of guys from the Midwest where we actually it's called the Other Ship Podcast, and then we
okay.
talk about the current wrestling product, and they all tell me I have that Philadelphia accent. I don't hear it. I hear their Midwest accent, but I
I
don't hear
don't
my
either.
Philadelphia accent.
No, I don't either. My daughter tells me that I still have the accent. There's something about the way Philadelphians say on and off and coffee and I don't know stuff like that. To me, it's just
water,
woulda,
Water,
it
water.
woulda. It just comes out like that,
orange.
you know. But you know, yeah, like but in New Jersey, I always make fun of my friends in New Jersey because like they say instead of cherry, they'll say cherry, like they're saying chair, you know. And I'm like, no, it's cherry, and they're going, no, it's not cherry. I'm like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying cherry, you know, like it's supposed to be. But I love it. I still do, and I still drive over. When I drive over the bridge into Philly, I feel like my head's clear. Maybe I should do that. Clear my ear out.
There
There
you
That
you
go.
might
go.
uncop my ear. All right. Well, Jamie, thank you. I cannot tell you how happy that you blessed us with your present. We were honored to have you here.
I
Um,
was honored to be on.
Thank you. I'm going to talk to Frank. We're going to have him on at the end of August, but I'm going to, like I said before, have repeat performers. So I'm going to eventually, at one point, have you and Frank back on together so we can hear some of your banter between the two of you. Uh,
Oh, sounds
Absolutely,
great.
I think it would
Oh,
be
that
great.
might be tough to keep G rated though. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Well, that's when Brian's on. Forget it. There's no G rating there. You know,
Oh no, I know that.
yeah.
I let loose when I'm on his show.
Yeah, well, there you go. We try to keep it family friendly, but it doesn't always end up like that, you know. But it was wonderful having you here. I love this fan base thing. I really do.
Yes.
Out to everybody, please, if you want to be on the show, you're more than welcome. Please email us at 316 Carmela with 1L at gmail.com. It should be on your screen. Okay. You want to send a message to Jeannie, myself, just write to us there. We will gladly answer you almost immediately, actually. And please, if you have any stories, if you have any experiences, if you have anything that you want to talk about with regard to wrestling, let us know, and we'll have you on the show. Again, Jamie, I can't thank you enough. It was
Yes,
worth.
Jamie, do you
No,
want
you're
to
welcome.
retell your the podcast that you normally do with people from the Midwest?
Oh
So
yeah, go
if
ahead.
people
Yeah,
want to follow you or
yeah.
subscribe to that.
I'm on two podcasts pretty regularly. One is called the Other Ship Podcast. Um, they do talk the current, but they also each week they'll talk music or different types of beer or video games, cartoons. They talk about all kind of different stuff. I'm on like 3 out of 4 weeks talking the current product, and then actually when I get finished here tonight, I have a 2.5 hour podcast called the Regional Wrestling Podcast with Ray
Wow.
Russell, who does the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, and I join him for regional wrestling. We cover 1981 Georgia Championship Wrestling,
Wow.
which is right in my wheelhouse. Where because I was watching that on TBS when it first came out, and we'll rewatch the shows. We go over it's a deep dive. We go over every house show result, every TV show result. Ray is impeccable with his research, and just to cover 2 weeks of Georgia Championship Wrestling will take us 2.5 hours, and he plays complete with interviews from the original shows.
Wow.
So I'll get the rest of my voice for about an hour or so here, and then I'll join him for a little bit later on tonight.
Well, listen,
but I want to make sure I did yours first.
Oh, thank you. But listen, tell them, we would love to maybe talk to them as well. I mean, we are never, 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 never saying no to anybody who wants to be on our show. You and them are welcome to come on and talk about Georgia wrestling, talk about what you do. We're more than honored, more than glad to share. Okay, so let them know that we mentioned them on our podcast. Everybody, you listen, you know the names. Can you say both names again? The Other Ship and
the Other Ship podcast, and the other one is the Regional Wrestling Podcast. Like I said, I'm on every 3 weeks. We do Georgia 81. He has two other ones that we all rotate. One is with Roman Gomez. He does the UWF in 1986, where the Freebirds are in, and DiBiase, and it's another deep dive there. And then another guy named Gene Jackson, who's a friend of Brian Trammell's and mine, does 1985 Memphis, and they're currently in March of '85 with the Randy Savage, Jerry Lawler feud. That's what they're currently covering there. And in Georgia right now, we just got to the point where Otis Sistrunk and Michael Hayes beat Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka for the Georgia belts. So that's the time period that we're currently in. But don't be afraid to go back and listen to the old episodes. We've been doing it for about 1.5 years.
Good.
Absolutely. And we're doing pretty well with it. So, but again, I was thrilled when you wanted me on here so quick. When I mentioned to you, if you want somebody like me on, I'd be more than happy to appear. And this is the highlight. This is the highlight of the month for me.
Oh, and this is our highlight too. Believe me, it's so wonderful to have you on as a person, as a friend, and as a fan. And the stories are great. They're always great. And we want to have you back, like I said. And please tell your friends, your cohorts in your other podcasts. We'd love to talk to them as well. They're more than welcome to come anytime they want.
Okay, and I'll plug your show on their shows.
Thank you. You be safe. I'm going to take you off now so that Jeannie and I can close up. But you have a great week, and I hope you enjoy your vacation.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and
thanks, Jamie.
I'll see you ladies down the line somewhere.
Take care.
Okay, absolutely.
In May, on May 3rd.
Oh, absolutely. And my old buddy Chubby Dudley will be there. Chubby and I worked together before he ever got into wrestling.
Really? Where'd you work together at?
We worked at a shopping mall called the Bazaar of All Nations. I was a maintenance man along with the post office, and he worked in a frame shop.
Wow.
And we used to talk wrestling all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, he's got a lot of stories too.
Oh,
he's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
And we'll see him on August 3rd because he's going to be up for the ECWA.
He's coming up for that.
So we'll see him.
Tell him I said hello.
I will.
Definitely will, but you'll see him too.
Sounds good.
No, wait a minute. You're not coming on August 3rd.
No, I won't be able to make it. Okay. I have the grandkids up that day.
Well,
so
all right. We'll tell him you said hello, and then he'll be here for May as well.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. You take care, Jamie. God bless you, and thank you very much again.
Bye-bye, ladies.
Day. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, sweetie. Wow. What a show.
Wow. Oh, my
Unbelievable.
God.
He is
I
so
want
good.
more stories from him. I know Frank has told me some juicy stories with Dennis and with Jim Cornette and things like that. But oh my Lord.
Well, that's why I think it'd be good to have Jamie and Frank on another show together. I think that would be awesome. And we can get some really good stories. Again, I love stories. This is all about stories.
I know. They told me a story. I can't tell it. I can't repeat it. I can't. But I was in tears laughing so hard after we went to lunch on Saturday because we drove together. Yeah. Went back to Frank and Jeff's place. And oh my God.
Is that something that he's going to tell?
I'll tell you off the air.
Okay, but is that something he's going to want to tell?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then you tell me when we're off the air,
Yeah,
and I want to
yeah.
hear it.
No, definitely, definitely. But yeah, it was tears of repulsion and gross and like, oh my
Oh
God.
God,
No.
Jeannie.
Yeah, it's
All
bad.
right. Well, that's a hell of a way to end the show. Thank you so much again.
Oh, thank you,
Please,
honey. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you to Jamie again.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeannie. I love you. Now, this
I love you.
podcast tonight is Monday night. We're recording it early. This will air on Saturday, so we'll let you all know when it drops. Okay,
Yes.
Jeannie, have a good night. Have a good day. Have a
Thank
good
you
week.
too.
And we'll talk to you later. And I love you dearly.
Love you more.
Okay, see you later.